Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious about what Booktube is or you're lost. I'm Chatty and welcome to my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, where today I'm not only going to be chatting madly, I'm going to be freaking out because it is the mid-year book freakout tag. I have no idea if I'm saying this name correctly anymore, but it's, you know which one I mean. It'll be in the title. Anyway, without any more waffling, because I really want to try and keep this video as succinct as possible, I'm so excited to do this tag. I love watching these, and this is the first year on my channel where I actually get to do one. So, as always, technology is still not working for me, so it's one shot. We're not editing. Can we do it on the first take? Come on, people, let's do this. So, what is the best book I have read so far in 2022? The hardest question, I think, on this list is, what is the best book? So, of course, I've got three. And other ones that could fit into this category are going to be mentioned in other ones. But I think the one that my heart sings for most of all for this is The Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. This is one I've read really, really recently. I love this book. I love this book so much. I absolutely loved Farseer when I read it last year. This is the first book in the Live Ship Traders, which is the second series in the realm of the Elderlings by the amazing Robin Hobb. The realm of the Elderlings is a very long fantasy series, and I don't know how it's all interlinked yet, but I have been assured it is. And I absolutely love her writing. I love the stories. I love how immersed you are in the world and the characters you feel for so much. I talk a lot about this book in my, in my June week 1 and 2 wrap up. So if you want to know more thoughts, do have a look at that. And also have a look at, there is a video, or is it one that I'm going to be talking about later? No, it's not. But there is a video on, I think it's Anita's channel. If it's not Anita, it's Gregory Lepert, where they do a live show of the Live Ship Traders. And it was so much fun being able to be part of that discussion, on Discord. I've had an amazing time with this book, and I can't wait to get to Mad Ship. So another couple of books I had to kind of put in this question because I wanted them to get their moment to shine as well is a completely different, it's one of my other genres that I love. It's a YA contemporary, and it is a novel in verse. I need to read more novels in verse. I need to read more YA contemporary novels in verse because I absolutely adore them. Long Way Down is by Jason Reynolds. And the illustrations on this one is by Chris Priestley. I have got the graphic, oh, I've still got a bookmark in here. I have got the graphic novel from the library as well that I am really looking forward to reading. Hasn't happened yet, but I think I'm probably going to reread this one when I do it. But this was just such a fantastic book. The way it made you think about things, the way it made you feel about what was happening. It was really, really powerful. I also adored the structure of it, the way the novel in verse was laid out. It all worked so well. I found it really powerful. So yes, this one absolutely had to be given a shout out as well. And my final book for talking about what the best books I've read in 2022 is The House with Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. Middle grade fantasy. I knew so many people loved this book, but I didn't realise how much I was going to love it. Even though it's a fantasy, even though it's middle grade, both things I absolutely love. But oh my goodness, I just adored this so much. There's so much warmth in here. So much trying to make the right decisions, but not always doing it. Trying to follow your heart. Trying to work with your family. The need for friendship. It was just an incredible book. We looked a lot more into the world of the Yagas than I thought we were going to. We learnt a lot more about Marinka and her story, and just the characters in here are so lovely. Marinka is a wonderful protagonist. I really adored her and nearly adopted her as a book baby, but it almost felt like she didn't quite need me necessarily. In this one, she is also protected by some other people in here, and I just had a wonderful time with this series. And I just think as well, just as a whole story, it's just so beautifully done. Like the full circle it comes with it, the way it's kind of wrapped up, the journey we go on with Marinka is just beautifully done. I had the best time with this book and I highly recommend. Okay, question 2. What is the best sequel you have read in 2022? And again, I have 2 because I can't choose, so I'm not going to. So the first one I have is Wrath by John Gwynne. This is the final book in the Faithful and the Fallen quartet. It's an adult epic fantasy. It reads very classic fantasy at the beginning. It's got a lot of tropes that we recognise, but John Gwynne does it his own way. It still feels new, it still feels fresh. The characters you just fall in love with and are rooting for. It's a very long cast, so it does have a very wonderful cast list in here, and I just had the best time. And what I love so much about John Gwynne is that he gives you payoff. There is so much set up in Malice that is continued on in Valor and Ruin, and then in Wrath, those payoffs that you have been working towards absolutely hit the mark. It was such a good wrap up of the series, and I had the best time, and I will definitely be rereading this at some point. If you want to know more of my thoughts about this one and the one I'm going to mention in a minute, I speak about the series as a whole in my series, how I'm doing with my series video. I think it was called like Series About Series or something like that. I'll link it in if you wanted to know more thoughts on this whole series by John Gwynne. And I then have for my middle grade best sequel, Frostheart, The Rise of the World Eater by Jamie Littler. Middle grade fantasy. Adore this series so much. It's so beautiful. The found family, the characters, the journey the characters go on, the emotions you go on with the characters, the world building, the atmosphere, the history of this, all in a middle grade book. It is absolutely one of the best. The resolution to the whole thing, again, the payoff was there. All the things that were kind of hinted at that you thought you were going to get more at other points come true. You find out more of what had been going on. You find out all the history, and it all makes sense. And there's other stuff that I think you might get when you read the first book and think, is it going to go there? Yes, it does. And that's exactly what I wanted it to do. And the characters are amazing. The themes in here are fantastic. It's such a beautiful, beautiful series. And again, I talk more about it and show this book off in more detail in my Series About series. Look, it's so pretty. That's so pretty. Okay, so question 3 is, what new releases have you not yet read that have come out in this first half of 2022? So let's start off with the big one. I've already mentioned this author, John Gwynne. This is the second book in the Bloodsworn. Don't know if it's a trilogy, don't know if it's a saga. It just says the Bloodsworn. So I read Shadow of the Gods last May and really, really enjoyed it. Obviously, I love John Gwynne. I've just been speaking about his other book series, The Faithful and the Fallen. And this beast of a book is waiting for me. But I want to have the best time. I'm savouring it. I'm going to reread Shadow of the Gods in sort of more of the autumn time, in what I'm calling porridge eating weather, because they eat a lot of porridge and I want to eat porridge too and go on this big Viking run adventure. We have 3 protagonists. I believe we get other points of view in this one. I'm fascinated to hear where this story is going. I really love John Gwynne's writing, so I absolutely can't wait to get to this, but this is not going to be read until the autumn when I can fully appreciate it properly, because I'm very excited. Another one that I have no specific plans as to when I'm reading it. I was supposed to read it in June because there was a read along with Evie and some other people on one of the Discords there. But it wasn't fitting into June, and my June is not working, so I don't know when I'm going to read it, but I definitely do want to, and that is The Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. And this book not only looks beautiful, I'm really fascinated to see how I get on with the story. It is inspired by a Chinese mythology about the moon goddess, and this is her daughter, kind of linking into all of that. I'm really keen to kind of get into this fantasy world. From the cover, I feel it's going to be sort of more of a lyrical, mystical kind of adventure. and fantasy world, but we will see. And this is the absolutely gorgeous Fairy Loot edition, which is just so beautiful, and I feel so lucky that I got accepted for the Fairy Loot box in January so I could get this in February, because it was on my wish list. I was considering picking it up, and then it appeared in the Fairy Loot box, and I was just like, ah! It was book orgasm moment for me when I pulled this out. So I'm really keen to read this one. I'm so excited about it. It's a duology, and the sequel is coming out, I think, in the autumn time, possibly. So I might read them back to back then if I haven't read it before, but we will see. I then have two I want to speak about that I don't actually own. So one is Discord of the Gods, which is the final book in the Cross of Dragons series by Jen Lyons. And I reread Rune of Kings and Name of All Things and had a great time rereading them. And I am currently reading Memory of Souls, and I'm loving it. I'm having so much fun with this series, so absolutely can't wait to then read the rest of it and finish off with Discord of Gods. So excited for that one. And my other one is Akata Woman by Lynnette Reads. Hold on, I have another book by her. Let's pause. Lynnette Reads. So this is the third book in the Newbie scripts, which is a middle grade fantasy, although I don't know why, but I have the feeling that it could be kind of like middle grade YA. The first book was fine for middle grade, but I don't know, I just have this feeling that the other books that come after it are more YA. I have just received Akata, I keep saying Akata, Akata Warrior, and it's gone under my bed for me to earn, and I'm really excited to do that. And then I want to get hold of and read Akata Woman, because I loved the first book in the series, Akata Witch. It was brilliant. It was all of that fun fantasy things, but it's set in Nigeria, so has a lot of Nigerian culture and vibes and possibly folklore, but I'm not entirely sure. But it was great. It was so much fun, this magical world that they are part of, and also part of this real world as well, and how the main character Sunny goes between both, and they have this wonderful group of friends, and they're all on this journey to learn magic together, and it was delightful. So I can't wait to continue this series, because I did not realize there was a series, so that is really exciting. Okay, question 4. So what are your most anticipated releases coming out in the second half of 2022? And again, I have a long list. I will try and go through them quickly. So on the 7th of July, I am awaiting the second book in a middle grade fantasy, which is called Twice We Make Magic by Sarah Driver. I read Once We Were Witches last year. Absolutely loved this. I have pre-ordered this from a local children's independent bookshop in Brighton called the Book Nook. And I love the Book Nook. They're so wonderful in there. And they said that Sarah Driver is local and she's coming in to sign it and can write a message. So that's really exciting. So yes, looking forward to getting my hands on that. And then on the 21st of July, we have a book called Her Majesty's Royal Coven. I believe it is an adult fantasy. It is by Juno Dawson, and I'm really excited for this. I am basing this, I do not know what I'm basing this on, but I'm just feeling really good vibes for this book. I think it sounds like it's going to be really funny. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's kind of witches in the modern day world. They're doing like secret government work. I just think it sounds amazing. So I'm really up. It sounds like a real fun time, and I'm really up for reading that. So I'm highly anticipating that one, and I have pre-ordered that one as well. We then have on the 1st of September, Amari and the Great Game. I just had to get this. So this is a very well-known, I think, middle grade fantasy book. So I don't think I'm the only one anticipating the release of this second book. It's getting so much love, which is so exciting. So yes, this second book by B.B. Alston will be coming out then, and I'm really, really looking forward to it, despite the fact I have not yet read this one, because I'm anticipating it so much. I just feel I'm absolutely going to love it and adore it, that it's kind of got into my head that it needs to be the perfect book reading moment. So I can't just pick it up and squeeze it in. I want to just relish it and enjoy it and not feel rushed, and just really appreciate it. I haven't got to that point yet, but it's going to happen. I feel it's coming up. I feel this book's time's coming, and I'm so excited. So excited for Amari. Okay, just two more. So on the 6th of September, there is a book, and I'm really sorry I can't remember the author's name. I should have written that down, but I haven't. But it's a book that's already been released, I think, everywhere apart from the UK, and that is A Magic Steeped in Poison. I'm hearing really good things from other people. The cover looks beautiful. It's full of colours. I believe it's an Asian fantasy, and it involves magical tea, or a magical tea shop. And that is enough to make me want to read it. You put the word magic and the word tea together. Yes, please. I want to read that book. So I've been hearing really good things about it. So that is on my list, and I want to try and get my hands on that one as well at some point. The final one is not going to come for any surprise of anyone who is a fantasy reader, that there is a very long-awaited book coming. As a Sanderson fan, The Lost Metal. I'm so excited. This will be out on the 15th of November. It is the final book in the Mistborn Era 2 series, and I love Mistborn Era 2. I actually prefer it to Mistborn Era 1. I love Mistborn Era 1, but Mistborn Era 2 has my heart because I just think the characters are so much more well developed. I love the humour in here. I love the kind of more lightheartedness. I love the Western kind of vibe you have, and how the magical system has grown and developed. And it's like, we know, we had like a first viewing of the history. So everything that happened in Mistborn Era 1, they refer to in Mistborn Era 2. And there are some of the funny, there's in the third, particularly the one that stands out most is the third book, the Bands of Mourning. There's a scene that I find absolutely hilarious. I think it's just so funny, and it is one of the reasons that this series just works so well for me. So I'm really keen to see, like, there were a lot of things that kind of were revealed in the third one. So I'm really keen to see where this is all going, and I'm so excited. I'm doing a reread with some other people on Gregory Lepetch's Discord, and I can't wait. I can't wait. So yes, The Lost Metal is my final book that I am so excited about coming out. I was also really excited about Silverborn, which is the 4th book in the Nevermore series, which is a children's fantasy. It's been pushed back a whole year. I pre-ordered this. I pre-ordered it last year, and it's been pushed back a whole year. But it's okay. I have enough to keep me going. It's fine. I still haven't read Hollowpox yet because I'm terrible, but it's going to be okay. Let's move on to question 5 before I start going off on all sorts of tangents. Not such a fun question, this one. What's your biggest disappointment so far in 2022? This is yeah. Haven't even finished it. Bookmark's still in. I'm here, but I'm already feeling disappointed. It's not a great start. It's really hard because I hear so many people absolutely loving this series, and I wanted to be on that train. I wanted to be riding that train with you all. I wanted to be a Schwab fan. But at the moment, I'm just like, Schwab's just missing the mark. Just missing the mark for me. I mean, it's got so much potential. The characters have so much potential. The concept behind it all has got so much potential, but it's not delivering. Read the whole of part 1. Was really excited after the ending of part 2, and it's just gone for me. So I'm taking a break. I've paused it. I'm going to come back, and hopefully my expectations will be lowered and I can have a pleasant ride. I don't think it's not going to be a series I'm going to absolutely love, which is a shame. So yeah, I was really hyped. I'd not read any V.E. Schwab before. I was so hyped for the V.E. Schwab journey, and unfortunately Conjuring of Magic is just not working for me. The other 2 were okay. So the first 2 in the Shades of Magic series, this is the third, were okay, and I just felt it was all going to come together in the third, and it's not got off to the best start. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on from that sad moment. Let's move on to happier times. The biggest surprise. What is the book that has surprised you the most in 2022? I mean, well, Conjuring of Light was a surprise. But let's talk of happy surprises. My happy surprise is Sweet Bean Paste by Durian Sukagwagu. This is a contemporary book set in Japan. It's been translated from Japanese, and it is a very much character-based book. It follows the story of Santaro, who makes type of pancake filled with sweet bean paste, dorayaki. He makes dorayaki, and a woman comes into his shop and she is asking about the assistant wanted job in the window. She is called Toku. She has got sort of a physical disability in her hands. She can't use them as well. And Sentaro is not sure about hiring her, but eventually he does, and they impact on each other's lives. You find out more about them, and it's just such a lovely friendship. It's so heartwarming. It's a beautiful growth in that friendship, and it's just so beautiful. And I just was not expecting, I thought I was going to enjoy it, but I didn't expect that I was going to love it as much as I did. But it's such a beautiful story. It's so heartwarming, and it also deals with things that I had never thought about before, that had not come into my area of understanding, and is a really important topic. So again, another one that I highly recommend. Another one that surprised me a lot as well was Nella Larsen's Quicksand. So I picked up this bind up because I heard really good things about the passing, mainly from Olivia at Olivia Catastrophes. Hearing her talk about it just really made me want to pick it up straight away. So passing was on my list, and then I saw this bind up with other stories and I thought, well, I'll just get all of it. So I've read Quicksand. I haven't yet read Passing, but Quicksand, it's not a story that I would usually like. It is a tragic story. It is kind of like an unraveling of someone with potential and just kind of not fitting in. It's quite emotional. Just what Helga goes throughout this. It looks at different areas of class, of race, of different cultures, and how she doesn't quite find her place in any of them. And just kind of it goes into her childhood and all the things she's experienced, and my heart just breaks for her. It's just, there's moments in here that are like, I love her voice. I love the voice of Helga, how she kind of like thinks about other people. Like, that's entertaining and fun. But ultimately it's a very powerful story, and it moved me, and I really wasn't expecting it to. So yeah, Quicksand did really, really surprise me. And another book that surprised me as well is The Starless Sea. I read this one as part of my Chatty Challenge, which is a 7-year TBR. I want to scratch the 7 years, so from 2015 to 2021, of some of the top books that come out in the Goodreads Choice Awards in the adult fantasy section. I am reading about 3 or 4 from each year and deciding which ones I feel are the top books. So The Starless Sea was one of those. I can't remember off the top of my head which year it was, but it was in there, and I wasn't sure which way I'd go. I've heard people either sort of love it or hate it. Because it's described as quite weird and whimsical, I took a gamble. I thought, I'm going to go on the love it side, and I did love it. So that was great. Sorry, thought I had to answer the door, but it's just next door. Okay, what was I saying? The Starless Sea. Yes, and I did love it. It took me a while to kind of, I was interested and really intrigued and was fascinated and thought it was done really well. But it kind of took me maybe a quarter of the book to get to the point of going, no, I love it. I really love it. I loved the characters. I loved the magical library. I loved the way it was told and how it kind of pulled certain things from the books and kind of put it into the main narrative. It's not one of those books where it's got a linear plot. It kind of jumps around a little bit and kind of interconnects with things. It wasn't perfect. There were some things where it didn't quite hit on one of the 3 relationships, and on sort of more towards the end, it felt like it lost me slightly. But overall, absolutely loved it. Brilliant book by Erin Morgenstern, and I will have to try The Night Circus, clearly. So question 7. What is your favourite new author of 2022? So my favourite new author is Zen Cho. I love Zen Cho. I'm so excited because under my bed I have 2 more Zen Cho books that I think I'm probably going to make an effort to earn as soon as possible because I want to read more. I think they're going to have a different feel to these two, and that's absolutely fine, but I have every faith because I hear so many good things about those two. These are the two that I don't hear about so much from her. Like the other two, Blackwater Sister and oh, it's called The Reflection of the Moon in the Pond or something like that. It's not that, but you can find out. You can find out what it's called. I hear lots of people talking about how much they the pure light reflected in water. And it's got an interesting title. It's a novella. Anyway, stop getting distracted. I don't hear as many people talking about these two books. So this is the Sorcerer Royale duology, The Sorcerer to the Crown, and The True Queen, of which I have spoken about a lot already. So I'll try and be brief. Jane Austen with Fairies, if that floats your boat. If you like Regency language, pick up these books. Lots of fun. Also calling out racism and classism as well in here. First book, the protagonist is Prunella and Zacharias, both of which are of heritage from Africa and India. Zacharias Africa and Prunella India. And so of course they have darker skin, and in English society you are frowned upon for being foreign. So they are dealing with all of that. It's called out. I love the way Prunella deals with it. Prunella is amazing. She is an utter star, one of my favourite protagonists. I absolutely adore her. She is so cool. It's like one of those people that I want to be, but no, I never will. And in here we have the True Queen. We have Muna, who is a Malaysian girl who ends up having to go through the fairy court to get to London for reasons that you will find out if you read this book. So it involves some fae, it involves aristocratic society, and I just find them really enjoyable. I just find them really funny. I had a great time reading these, and so yeah, Zencho works for me, absolutely works for me, and can't wait to read more of her. Okay, so question 8 is, what is your newest fictional crush? So I haven't got any. I don't actually know if I've ever crushed on a character before. Possibly Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, but in Strider version, and I think that is possibly due to the film with Viggo Mortensen rather than anything in the book. So I'm going to change this question. I'm going to say, because what I do is I adopt fictional characters as my children. Rather than crushing on them, I sort of mother characters and kind of bring them in and want to hug them and look after them. So let's talk about who are my book babies. So my book babies of 2022. So I've got some carryovers from last year. So Corban in here kind of doesn't need mothering by the time we get to this one, but in Malice he needed mothering, even though he had a mother who was fine. His family was great. He had a great family, but I still felt the need to adopt him. So I adopted Corban. He was one of my book babies. I also adopted Ash as well. He finds his own amazing found family. But when I read Frostheart, I adopted him, and of course he stayed adopted during Frostheart Rise of the World Eater as well. So my newest book baby is a slightly unusual one. I've adopted a ship. I've adopted Vivacia, the live ship from the live ship tradies. She is my book baby. No one is allowed to hurt her. I can do 180 on characters when they've been mean to her, because just don't do it. Why would you do that? She doesn't need that from you. She needs lots of love. She needs lots of care. She's very strong, but it's a crazy world she's living in. I'm slightly concerned about her fate. We will see what happens when we read Madship. But yes, I love Vivacia and I've adopted her. I also love the other live ships, but we'll come on to those later. So those are my book babies so far. They've joined my little chatty orphanage. So question 9, what are your new favourite characters of 2022? So I think I've already mentioned a few. Prunella from Sorcerer to the Crown is incredible. She will not let things bother her. She will just, you can't call her out on anything. She'll be just like, yes, and she owns it. She owns everything, and I love her for it. She also doesn't let things that would seem like a big difficult problem phase her. She just steps up and accepts it and makes it work for her head on. She's just love her so much. I mean, she's not without fault. She's aware of her faults, and I think that kind of comes up in the True Queen, because she's such a, what's the word, such a strong, opinionated, doesn't care about other people's opinions character. She is a little bit more impatient, or not recognizing when maybe other people are struggling with those things. But yes, I love Prunella. Prunella's amazing. Other characters that I really love, I've adopted Vivashia. I love some of the other characters in here as well, but the one I want to talk about most is Ophelia. Ophelia is another live ship. You don't get to meet her until the last quarter maybe of this book, but oh my goodness, how much fun is Ophelia? She's delightful. She is so funny, absolutely best drinking buddy. I mean, I hope they set up bars that you could sail your ship into, because she would be the life of the party. So not only is she a lot of fun, she is also actually a very loyal character, one that looks out for people that she would consider friends and family. I can't wait to hear more of her in other books. There were so many characters I enjoyed in this, but the shout out had to go to Ophelia for me in this one. Final book character that I want to mention is this lovely fluffy cloud cat here. This is lovely Nim. There we go. There's more Nim. So Nim is the companion of Rainbow Grey. Was not did not bond with anyone when he came out of his fluff cloud. I can't remember it, his fluff cloud bloom. And so was a bit lost. So Ray Grey adopted him, and they are the best of friends. And Nim can change shape and grow smaller or bigger to accommodate Ray and her friends and fly them around. But the reason Nim is not appreciated by other people is because Nim will fart and explode. So then you get Nim splattered kind of all over the place, and then the bits of cloud will then join back together, which is just great fun. But yes, we love Nim. Okay, which book in 2022 made you cry? The one I've gone for is actually quite surprising, as we're not expecting it. The Secret Sunshine Project by Benjamin Dean. This book going in, it's going to be a delightful, fun, light-hearted, joyful ride. It was all that, but there are some serious subjects in here. There are things that are explored, characters exploring their feelings, characters moving on in their lives from difficult situations, and towards the end of the book, the stuff that happened when characters started talking about it, I cried. I cried with those sort of warm tears of when you can see families having heart-to-hearts and you know they're about to do a big group hug. It was those sort of tears that I had from this one. So this is the story of two sisters. We have Bee and we have Riley, and circumstances change in their life and they have to leave London and spend the summer with their nan in a completely different environment, out of the way little country place. And Riley is a lesbian and was really looking forward to going to Pride. They had a great time as a family the last year before. So Bee decides to make her sister feel happy. Maybe they can bring Pride to this little village. Such a beautiful story. Benjamin Dean wrote Me, My Dad and the End of the Rainbow, which I read last year, and I really enjoyed that one, but I loved this one even more. And if you enjoyed Me, My Dad and the End of the Rainbow, there is a throwaway comment in here that refers to stuff that they did, and it's like the author giving you a little wink, which I really appreciated and didn't say in my wrap-up. Okay, question 11. What book made you happy? Again, I have a few. I'm just going to hold them up because I've already spoken to them. These two made me so happy. But it's time for Rainbow Grey to shine. Rainbow Grey is just such a delightful, whimsical children's fantasy book. Rainbow Grey, and also, I did get them both. There we go. Rainbow Grey and Rainbow Grey Eye of the Storm. I read both of these this year. They are both gorgeous. They are full of wonderful, fun world building. They have maps. They have really interesting ways of imagining this world. So they live in the Weatherlands, and the Weatherlands go and support Earth with their weather and their weather problems. But there's a school, there's festivals, there's all these different things that have been created in this world that are so enjoyable. And also there are problems that Ray helps to solve. She has got two friends, Snowdon, who has snow magic, and Droplet, who has rain magic. Very different characters, and the trio of them all together make up a really fun gang, and it's just so delightful. I actually got a little bit emotional at the end of the second book. This was another book that I thought was a great, what's the word? Series continuation. Can't wait for more from these, but if you just want a really heartwarming, fun time, pick these up. They are brilliant. Okay, number 12 is the beautiful book. What is the most beautiful book you have been given or have received in 2022? So again, I'm going to go through a few options. So I had this book at the start of the year, and that is A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. I love the covers of this Pinch of Magic series. I think they are so stunning. I love this art style with all the different colours. I love all the symbols, this tower, the way the gold magical title weaves around it, all these different things. We've got a pocket watch, a Russian doll, a basket. I presume these are the three sisters in this boat here. Then on the back, we've got some more fabulous things. We've got a sort of a mermaid over here, this wonderful tree, lightning, rain, a house. I just love the waves. I just love how the waves have been drawn. So yeah, I think this is incredibly beautiful. And all the books in the series have this same art style and match it and are all beautiful. Another book that I gifted myself, as my Easter present, is this edition of this classic Sense and Sensibility. So this is the Seasons edition. So I don't know if you can see, it's got the whole thing is a laser cutout, and then it's got the name printed on here, and there's the spine, and the end we've got this quote on here. Eleanor was alternatively diverted and pained, but Marianne persevered and saw every night in the brightness of the fire and every morning in the appearance of the atmosphere the certain symptoms of approaching frost. So we've got blue, pale blue sprayed edges, and it does also come with a matching bookmark, which again has this same sort of laser cutout. Oh, it's still, it has a protective cover, and I hadn't taken the protective cover off because I'm too scared. There we go. There's the matching bookmark as well with that. Oh, there we go. Let's put it on the denim. Can we see it there better? It's the two sisters. It's Marianne and Eleanor on there, which is really cool. So yeah, I think it's just a really, really pretty copy. I'd got this lovely little edition, but I wanted a really beautiful one because I really love the Jane Austen stories. And inside we've got acorns and flowers, and then it's just this really nice big font. Again, such the feel of the paper in the book is gorgeous. And then have we got, yes, and then we have some pages throughout with like a highlighted quote on it. So yes, beautiful edition of Sense and Sensibility. And then one of the Fairy Loot books, all of the Fairy Loot books that you get are incredibly beautiful, but I thought I'd choose just one, and that is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. So on the original cover, it's more of kind of like a greeny blue, and it's purples and yellows and green tones, but the same kind of art on the cover. And I thought that looked absolutely stunning. I was intrigued by the title, I was intrigued by the premise. And again, when I opened my Fairy Loot box and saw this, astounded and delighted to see this book in there. I really love all the kind of like the teal and rose tones that it's got throughout here. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And oh, there we go, look, we've got shiny, slightly shiny water flowing over there. And same pinky colour on the spine, similar pictures on the back. And then these sprayed edges, they're this beautiful blue, and we have this dragon serpent on the edge there. And then inside we have these absolutely gorgeous, oh, first of all, pretty bird. And then these end pages with this really beautiful art style inside, look, so gorgeous. And then on the front we have the protagonist in a blue foiling with the dragony serpent thing. Oh, and look at the end there. I didn't even see that bit. So around the title on the spine, we've got these kind of wave patterns. And then on the back, oh, we have another, let's just take the cover off completely. There we go. So on the back, we have another beautiful end page here with the same kind of art of the lily pond on a boat. So yeah, absolutely beautiful, beautiful book there. So the cover illustration of The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea is Carl James Mountford, and the end pages illustration is by Kun Yu. Brilliant work, artists, fabulous stuff. So my final, no, still got a few more questions. Oh, what do I need to read by the end of the year is question 13. Well, do I have a stack of books still? Yes, I do. I have to say this one first, otherwise I feel Lucia is going to be incredibly disappointed with me. Ink Death. Ink Death by Cornelia Funke has to be read by the end of the year. It's getting ridiculous. I read Ink Spell in February and intended to read Ink Death the following month, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen the next month or the next one. Not happening in June. Will it happen in July? I don't know, but it has to happen by the end of the year. It's a middle grade, but it's really big and heavy. So again, I don't want to just try and, I can't just squeeze it in. I need to want to enjoy it and appreciate it and have a great time with rereading this. I've only read this book once before. It is the third book in the Inkheart trilogy, and I want to have the best time with it. Another book that is absolutely going to be read by me is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, the fourth book in the Stormlight archive. This is the UK paperback editions. I finally got my hands on them so I can continue my journey reading it. I'm rereading the rest first, and so I will get to these once I've done those, but I'm having the best time rereading and cannot wait to get to these. Another book that I want to read I've already mentioned, and that is Passing by Nella Larsen. It's a short read, it will easily fit in, and it's one that I've been highly anticipating for a very long time. Also considering how much fun I had with Quicksand, I'm very excited to get to Passing. And another book from my Chatties Challenge list, but also one book that I've been wanting to read since it came out last year and I heard everyone raving about it, not last year, year before, is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I bought this last year. Everyone was raving about it the year before. I know. And again, it's one of those ones where I just want that right moment to read it and enjoy it, because I feel that I'm absolutely going to love and adore it. So yes, this one as well. Okay, so question 14 is, what has been your most favourite video that you have made? Well, I love doing my TBR games. I find those a lot of fun. I also had a lot of fun doing my Very Merry and Birthday video, where I did lots of shout outs to some of my favourite booktube channels that I've been watching. I was able to talk about some of my childhood favourite books and some of the books that I got for my birthday. It was a very long video, so I'm very sorry. There are timestamps, but I did have a lot of fun filming. Another video, very different tone, was I really enjoyed doing the Magical Creatures Readathon TBR. Just impulsively, I decided I would act out the animals, and then I found a prop and kind of took it to a different level, and it was very silly, but I had a great time doing it. Hopefully people also had fun watching it. I don't know. Question 15. What is your favourite video that you have watched so far in 2022, or from which creators are you enjoying their content? There are so many, and I'm definitely not watching enough. I think one of the reasons is because I am such a crazy commenter. I want to respond immediately. I'll do 5 comments as I'm watching the video because I feel the need to share my thoughts. So that takes a very long time. So a 10-minute video turns into more than a 10-minute video. And if I'm doing chores while I'm watching, I'm stopping my chores to comment, which kind of is counterproductive. So I think that's one of the reasons. So I need to get much better at reining it in and just maybe choosing one comment to make, so then at least I'm seeing more videos, commenting and liking them, because there is so much great content out on Booktube, and I'm having the best time learning more about these people, seeing their reading tastes and seeing the stuff they put out is fabulous. So I am going to shout out a few videos that I've been enjoying, just because I really enjoy doing shout outs. Again, if I don't shout out your video, doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying the stuff you're doing, but you know, I only have so much time. I mean, we're already on 44 minutes, so let me get cracking. And these are all videos that I've not mentioned before. So ones I've come across recently that I've really enjoyed. So I want to give a shout out to Derri from the channel Derri's Read It Before. Her video, The Realm of the Elderlings Part 1, Where to Start. I love this video. I obviously love Realm of the Elderlings, but Derri has read it multiple times. She will go into detail of how many times she's read it. And her love for the series is so encouraging and enthusiastic. Like, if you start talking about Realm of the Elderlings, I think Derri will just appear. It's like you summon her. You say Robin Hood, and she said, bing, hello. Let me tell you how amazing it is. So it's fantastic. And her video where she talks it through is really helpful because she's got all this fantastic insider knowledge and all these different hints and things that she's picked up from reading it. But she does it in a way where she's not going to give you spoilers. So it just kind of helps you, like, if you want the best out of this series, this is what I suggest. There are things that will come to light later, but for now, this is what you need to know, and it's brilliant. So I really enjoyed her video with that. They're a big booktuber, but I think they should be definitely so much bigger than what they are, is Angela from Bookish Realm. I recently came across one of her videos called Things About the Book Community That Frustrate Me, where she kind of explored how, although in 2020, due to the really sad incident, we very much were all shouting Black Lives Matter and trying to support more Black content and listening, it's kind of then dropped off, and we're not continuing to try and give more platforms to Black authors and to having Black protagonists in books and own voices, and also listening to people when they say actually that's quite offensive. There was this whole brilliant conversation about, I think she went through like 6 different points, and it was done in a really fantastic way of kind of explaining where she was coming from, but also clarifying it's not everyone. But as a white person who's still trying to learn about what it means to be Black, what to do to kind of be a better ally, it was really, really helpful. It's really sad that she's got to go out of her way to do that and explain what it's like and explain to everyone. But it was a really, really powerful video, and I highly recommend that you all go and watch it. Another video that I have seen really recently, and I wanted to mention it because I've not seen one like it. Maybe I'm just not in the right corner of booktube, but this was Bin Yusuf's from the channel Positive Writer, my all-time favourite dystopians. I rarely hear people talking about dystopia books, very, very rarely. So watching this video and hearing him talk about his love for dystopia and all these fantastic titles that I'd never heard of, these premises that sound so engaging, I was like writing pretty much all of them down on my story graph. I was like, get that one, keep that one on my radar so I don't forget them, because they all sounded amazing. And I have loved the dystopia books I read, and I definitely want to read more. So again, if you want some dystopia recommendations, go and check out Bin Yusuf on Positive Writer. And the final one is Rodger from the channel Rodger Reads. He might have come on people's radar a lot more because he's been on some of the World Hopper videos recently, and he's so much fun. And watching his reread, rewrite and burn video was hilarious. I just love that he's like, I'm just going to say it how it is. I'm just going to take you down. I have no I have no hesitation in burning books in the metaphorical sense, not the actual physical burning book sense. So those were videos that I've seen recently, were all lots of fun. But like I said, there are so many videos out there that are amazing. Lots of my friends have done some fantastic videos that I've really enjoyed. Jessie from Jessie the Sleepy Koalas, Cosmere Tag was fabulous. Vidania's from Vidania Silver Scribes, Magical Birthday May wrap up, where she had her 2 teddies, Bartolome and Elsa, reading her book sort of in a little montage at the end, was gorgeous. Jess from Me, Myself and I, her recommendations and the way she edits with video clips. The Loki tag was particularly wonderful with all of these excess Loki clips involved when she was talking about the tags. So everyone, please keep making the content, keep putting it out there. It is enjoyed. There are watches for you. It is all appreciated. I don't have enough time to go through all of them, but I love doing shout outs, so I did want to give a shout out. So a few more shout outs actually, because question 16, who else do I want to see freak out about all the books that they've been reading in the first half of the year. Let's freak out with this tag. So I'm going to tag some newbies. I want to tag Langstone from Langstone's Bookiverse. I want to tag Lynnette from Lynnette Reads. I want to tag Hannah from Hannah Blackwell. And I want to tag Courtney from Tantalising Reads. They all read a great range of books, and I'm really keen to see which ones they would put in those categories. So go and check out their channels. They are really fun. And for all of you, I hope you've had an amazing first half of the year reading wise. Happy reading, everyone.